Well, fellas, it's that time again. My name is Johnny Bottles, and I'm welcoming you to the Square Circle Maniacs Pro Wrestling Podcast. To my left, Dr. Don Wayne, the neckbeard psychologist from Twitter. Down below, the mighty Motorhead, who is the grand poobah, if you will, of the Square Circle Maniacs Twitter enclave. He's operating from the motor cave right now. Look at him in there, all nestled in. Looks like it's a little chilly in that motor cave, Motorhead.
Yeah, we got some pretty bad weather today. It's typical for this time of year, but it's about 36 right now, so it's a little.
Son, woo!
It was cold today. It was 61
down
here in Florida. But I digress. We all digress. Folks, we're the Squared Circle Maniacs. We're three like-minded individuals who like to sit around and have an adult beverage. I've got mine right here, fellas. Show them if you got them.
One day from the weekend, boys. Here's
That's
to
it. And we like to sit around and talk pro wrestling. Chris Leather, what's going on, Chris? We like to sit around and talk
when there's wrestling available.
When there's some wrestling's not pro. Some wrestling companies are not professional.
However, we'll slap the shit out of your chest real quick and make it red. Come here. I'm going to smack the shit out of your chest over and over again.
Damn.
Folks, as usual, as I always say on this show, the behind-the-scenes news in the pro wrestling business is more fascinating than what goes on in the ring. We're going to cover some of that for you right now. Don, what do you got?
It is in one company specifically. We had WWE have a bombshell week. Wasn't really great. But AEW, on the other hand, last night they had their Wednesday show, right? Yes. This is all I've heard about from the neckbeards since this whole damn thing started. We want more wrestling. We want more action in the ring. Stop with the storylines. We don't need those. Just give me a good match. 823,000 people last night.
Yes.
823,000.
That sounds like it's down a little bit.
It is. It's down 30,000 people from last week.
Okay.
The highlight of the show was, to me, just the ongoing storyline, which I just want to cover. I don't want to go into nitpicking everything. They advertised the match, Johnny. We talked about a little bit today that they didn't deliver on. And I thought that was just some complete BS by the company to advertise a match and then take it away. You were supposed to get a tag team match with Samoa Joe and their world champion MJF against the Devil Mask people. Yes. Did we get that?
No.
What did we get instead?
You had a little soupçon, a little tease, if you will.
You had a little fuck you, buddy. That's what you got.
I was trying to be more diplomatic.
That's what you got. Dude, there's no other way to put it. He totally screwed over the fans last night that you did. Completely hosed them. And I hate to use that right out of the gate, but he did. He totally screwed them on this, man. Totally screwed them. Didn't give them the match they wanted. Gave them a shitty angle instead with MJF laid out in the back with a bottle around his head. And it went nowhere. I don't remember seeing that. I don't remember seeing Joe after that the rest of the night. Did I miss it? Because there sure were a lot of bad matches, but I didn't see any more angles or anything to keep me tuned in. I was flipping through my phone more than I was paying attention to the matches because everything was the same. This guy's chopping that guy. This guy's chopping the other guy. This dude's doing a botch over and over again. And you know what? We got Christian, whatever his name is now, Adam Copeland.
He's Christian Cage.
Christian Cage. Yeah. Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Here's my issue with this. I saw this already in their prime. I saw this 13 years ago when they were better wrestlers. Yes. Why am I getting this again? If you want to give me Adam Copeland on a Wednesday night at a primetime slot, I am okay with that. I'm okay with that. You know, he's still got relevancy in wrestling today. He's not what he was, but I'll tune into him. You have that entire roster to make an angle with anybody. And you choose to do the one that the WWE did 13 years ago. Not only that, but here comes Minivan Mom to the rescue again to close the show. It wasn't a great match between the two. I wasn't mesmerized. It wasn't anything that I hadn't seen before. The spot on the top rope took entirely too long. It was god-awful. They just hung around up there forever. The match, they do a double spear on each other, which was okay, but looked a little dangerous. Thank God they're both
Kind of a cool move, though. You got to admit that.
No,
what do you think of that? Did you see that, Motorhead?
Yes, I did. Very cool move.
Yes.
So I'm sitting there watching this. And Larry's got it. How many mobs are going to come out here and crack a promo? How many? I mean, the minivan mobs are taking over wrestling. Because at the end of the match, here comes the minivan mom. What's his name? The kid's name, the young kid's name. It pissed me off so much. I'm
Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne.
That
yes.
guy. His mom comes out, grabs the belt, and looks tormented. Oh God, what do I do? What do I do? You knew where it was going. She whacks Edge with it. And Sega Genesis called this a month ago. He put the tweet back out there and said, I'm calling it now. In a month, the mom turns on Edge. And there it was. That's how predictable this is. You can see it coming a month away. The whole thing from start to finish.
And by the way, Don, let me interject one thing. No build up on that. No build up on turning on Edge. No interviews with her. No interviews with her and Edge, hinting that there's going to be a problem. When she came to the ring, she's looking at both of them. She just stared at Christian like, I'm going to whack you with this son of a bitch. You're a dirty dog. Yeah, I'm going to whack you with this. You took my son away from me. I'm going to hit you with this belt. And then as she goes in to hit him, she should have came over and clocked Edge. But she looked at both of them like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
That's
like you said.
Terrible.
Yep.
Terrible. Like Chris Strickletter just said, is he going to put a mother on a forklift match again? We're going back to WCW Circle 1999. Get Buff Bagwell's mother on the phone.
You need a hotline to heaven for that, pal.
She's
in the ground.
Maybe it's just me, but the way this ended was a result of how it started with that god-awful John Moxley match that just went way too long, and none of it looked legit. None of it looked good. It looked choppy. It looked like they were taking potatoes out on each other at one point.
They were pissed off at one another. Roosh is a hard-hitting individual. He's always been that way. And Moxley, the plumber, with that face is getting more and more bloated from week to week. Almost like he's back on the booze. Remember when he was so puffy in his head when he was all drunked up? I think he's. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back on the juice again.
Yeah,
it's a shame to say, but if he's got a problem with it, he's got a problem with it. However, I think that he just likes to go out and wing it in the ring, call it in the ring, and Roosh is a stiff guy. And you could tell by Moxley's chest, Roosh hit that man Gunther style several times where it looked like he couldn't get his breath.
Did you notice
especially when he picked him up? He put him on the top turnbuckle.
The turnbuckle and then kept coming back into the turnbuckle and then back. I was like, "What the hell is this, man? This is
Who was
terrible."
doing that? Moxley or Rush?
Moxley over
yes.
and over again. In the turnbuckle, then come back and hit him. In the turnbuckle, then it was terrible. None of it fit. None of it made sense.
No.
I didn't like any of the shit. God awful.
Sandbag Roosh, where he was trying to do some kind of suplex on him, like a pedigree type thing. He sandbagged him there. Roosh was going to do a spinning clothesline. Moxley wasn't in position. It's like they couldn't communicate with one another. And Roosh speaks perfect English. He was in ROH for years. He was the champion for a couple of years in Ring of Honor, in the original incarnation of Ring of Honor. So I don't see why he couldn't,
Apparently he speaks F-U, pal. That's his fluent language.
Yes.
Do you like potatoes? Because I'm coming in hot.
I like the fact that Moxley's his powerful sleeper hold put Roosh out for a total of 3 seconds. Then when the bell rang, he got right back up again. Like
nothing happened. Yeah, the whole thing was a shit.
F this shit.
Exactly.
Motorhead, did you see the actual T-shirt that John Moxley had coming down to the ring?
No,
Did you notice that? Did you happen to see it?
I saw the clips of the match today.
It said F the hard cam side.
Oh, that's why you guys were saying that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
F the hard cam side.
I wonder what Edge thinks. He's a newer guy to the company. Motorhead, you're Edge. You're Adam Copeland.
Okay.
And you get paid a few million a year, maybe $4 or $5 million a year, because that's what
you think he's.
That's what Moxley and Danielson.
Well,
Moxley and Danielson are getting that.
Reportedly.
So, I mean, according to Mumbles Meltzer, that's what they're getting. But you get hired by this company. You're making great. This is going to be fantastic. I'm going to work with my best friend, my brother, who I've known since I was in grade school. Blah, 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 blah. We're going to go to Canada. We're going to headline. Oh, it's going to be great. And he comes out to an arena where the entire one half of it's empty. What do you think he's feeling? What's going through his head right now? It can't be a good feeling for these people. Not just for him, though. Not for all the wrestlers. It's got to be a deflating feeling to see that.
Terrible. Absolutely. To have to perform and give up your body like that in front of a damn near non-existent house, and who knows how long that's going to keep up, week after week, each house show. Crowds are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. If I was him, I'd be like, okay, I'm getting the money, right? I'm getting the money. Okay. But I think there's some integrity involved in, thinking your way through it as far as, wow, am I doing this for the right reasons? How do I feel right now making this much money and performing in front of, a couple hundred people? So I think it's a bad scenario all the way around, to tell you the truth. And I would not be happy personally if I was him, having to see those empty seats.
Right.
Well, last night they did have a decent crowd for AEW. They had like 5,000 people. I don't know how much was papered, but they had a good crowd. And Montreal is always, these were two Canadian guys, so I honestly thought they'd get closer to 8. I'm not going to bullshit. I thought they'd get closer to 8,000 people.
Right.
Because it was a homecoming for Edge and Christian. They've never seen it before. Mm-hmm. I was really hoping. I've had a rough week. I know Motorhead's had a rough week. God knows. I know you've had a rough week, Johnny Bottles. We've all had that week that, man, I just needed something last night to take my mind off of the real world. And what I got was more shit. I didn't get away from the shit from work. I got more shit on my TV. It's just stacking up in crates of the shit. How high can we get this shit?
I was fascinated by how my interest was in the beginning match because of how effed up it was and how stiff it was, and the intricacies of Roosh getting pissed off at Moxley, and the ending match. Everything else in between was garbage. Absolute garbage.
Well, there was one.
No one cares about this. What's this tournament they're having? This is supposed to be like the G1
Continental Classic.
The Continental Classic. Yes, the Incontinent Classic. Because all it was the shits.
It's Tony Khan's Japanese wet dream of a tournament match bringing to America. And it's too convoluted, and it doesn't make sense, and the storylines don't mean anything. And this is why Japanese wrestling, in my opinion, doesn't work in mainstream wrestling in America. It never has, and it never will. And the numbers for the show, like I said, 823. Last week they did 858, so they were down 35,000 viewers. And wait a minute, because it gets better. The neckbeards are running off at the mouth right now saying, and I quote, the Republican debate last night is what pulled the neckbeards away from their wrestling show.
Who said this? Meltzer?
WrestlingNews.com. They're putting the onus now on the frickin' Republican debate that I didn't even know was on last night. So, dude, they want to find any excuse they can right now. It's
the
so
onus.
bad.
I like to put the anus on WrestlingWorld.com or whatever it is. Whatever you just said.
Speaking of anus, somebody get that girl some clothes. My God in heaven.
Sky Blue?
Dude, what is going on?
Jesus. Right?
That was a nice match.
It wasn't bad. I didn't hate it.
Battle of the Cheeks.
Matches go. Dude, it really
Battle
was.
of the Cheeks. She
really
was led very, very nicely by Tony Storm. However, they botched the pin because the girl, Sky Blue, her shoulders.
I know, weren't even down.
They were on Tony Storm's thighs, which wouldn't be a bad place to be.
There it is, Larry. There it is. She
shut up, tits out.
She meant it. Shut up and tits out, and she meant it.
Watch the shoe.
Here's what got, and this is the last I'm going to say about it because it crashed down so fast. Even when they had a decent women's match, they couldn't help themselves.
Right.
Because who came running out at the end? Anybody remember? Riho out of nowhere. Because no one asked for, back my unpopular opinion. I couldn't believe it. I said, are we going to really do this for the fourth time with this chick? A 90-pound girl that no one cares about. I'm done with it, man. At least
she wasn't dressed in that lace schoolgirl outfit that Kenny Omega's got a fetish for.
Dude.
A lot of people don't realize that was one of Kenny Omega's girlfriends when he was in Japan, Riho. If not his current girlfriend, that's why she's got the job there today. She can't talk. She can barely wrestle. A stiff wind can put a suplex on her. So
still surprised she's in the business. Still completely surprised she's still around doing stuff.
I like to forget when she is. I really do. I try to forget that she's around.
Yeah.
And then she shows up and it's like, oh my God, here we
Not
go
good,
again. Johnny,
skipping
you brought
like
something.
skipping to the ring, hops and waves at Tony. Why do these women skip to the ring? I can't understand. Every time I see Bianca Belair skip to the ring, I hope someone in the crowd throws a full beer in her face.
That would be awesome.
Bring her back to her senses.
Mm-hmm. You know, all badasses skip to the ring. Boxers, everybody that's a badass. They skip to the ring.
There was only one female wrestler to skip to the ring that got my attention. That was AJ Lee. I thought it was one of the coolest things. AJ Lee.
Hall of Fame?
Is she in the Hall of Fame?
2024?
Oh.
Hall of Fame? I'm calling it.
You're calling her. I think she's coming back. I think she's coming back eventually.
I think it's going to be Punk and AJ Lee in a mixed gender match with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch.
See, even Chris got it. As I said it, he's typing it. Only person that should be skipped to the ring is AJ Lee. Beer Man said the Mulkeys don't skip.
That's right, Beer
The
Man.
Mulkeys don't skip. You're goddamn right they don't skip, pal.
All right. What you got next, Johnny? Because
hang on a second. We got Beer Man watching this?
Yeah. Welcome to the show. Salute.
Cheers, Beer Man.
Cheers, Beer Man.
You brought up the Andrade story. You want to lead this off? Because I've found the news article now. I found it.
The word on the street and in the IWC is Andrade di Idolo. Andrade. Andrade di Idolo is Andrew the Idol, if you translate it. Andrew the Idol. And Andrew the Idol is out of AEW. His contract's coming up soon. He's not going to renew. They know he's not going to renew his contract. He claims he's going to go to CMLL, which is the number 2 promotion down in Mexico, right underneath AAA. It's like he's going from one AEW to another AEW. I'm sure CMLL's been around for CMLL's been around for a long time, guys, and I'm sure it's ran better than what the Snowman from Jacksonville will do. So, that being said, he's just telling them that because his wife works for the WWE, the woman he lies next to every night, and I'm sure she's already tested the waters about a return. He would fit right into SmackDown where she's at, into the Santos Escobar storyline against the LWO and Rey Mysterio and everyone else. So I believe that's where he's headed. Zelina Vega, who used to be his manager when he was in NXT and also when he debuted in WWE during the COVID era, Zelina Vega said, well, right out of the gate today got a little more interesting, or really got interesting. I forgot what the exact verbiage was, but she saw that he's going to become available, and I'm sure he gave her a phone call. So, look for Andrade di Idolo.
I don't see him as a primetime player in the WWE.
He wouldn't
be. A lot
be.
of people do.
No.
I can't see him.
When he
on
tries
the
to give
stage. Like NXT, I can see it, but I can't see him on SmackDown or Raw. I just can't. No. I don't see him on that level. I haven't seen him on that. The one thing he had going for him, and this is just me, but when the new Collision show started and CM Punk was running it, they were using him in the best spots I think I'd ever seen him in.
Right.
It fit. I don't know what it was. I don't know how it was presented differently. I'm not sure what changed during that time. But for about a month, he was absolutely amazing to me. He was killing it. And then
because he was happy.
Well, maybe that was it. Maybe him being happy is what makes him such a good player. I didn't really follow the WWE. I haven't really followed the WWE lately until, recently. But
and you call yourself a wrestling journalist.
Look, I like good wrestling. I sure as hell have never done that. I've never said that in my entire life.
Like Fandango once said. Fandango once said, "You're not even a real journalism." I put Selena at my house. Beer Man, if we could wave a magic wand, we would put, what's her name? What's the actress's name? I forgot her name.
Oh, Cans.
Cans. Zelina. Jesus, God almighty. She was in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah. Anyway.
She's famous for being hot, and she's like 60 years old and still a firecracker, man.
I don't see him on the main stage. I can see him at NXT. Salma Hayek. Thank you, Bear Man. Yeah,
Salma Hayek, yes.
I don't see him on the main stage. I know it's a big release. I know it'd be a big get for somebody.
A big release?
He can work. A big release. It's a big release because he can wrestle. Like, he can draw a dime. I'm not saying he can't draw, but he's just never going to be a main character to me. I do have something next whenever you're ready.
Well, hang on a second. When Andrade speaks, no one listens because he's like, good Lord, he's like white noise. He's like background noise for it. It's like somebody's trying to start a lawnmower when he's trying to talk. It's terrible.
But is that a gimmick? Because he's married to Charlotte. Is that a gimmick? And he's just
got a heavy.
it?
He's got a thick accent, as thick as freaking bathtub caulk. It's horrendous.
There's no way I'm going to believe he married Charlotte Flair if he can't be understood. Like, I feel like it's a gimmick at some points.
Pal, you don't have to understand the burrito, pal. That's all I'm going to tell you.
That's all right. I got you.
That's all I'm going to tell you, pal. She likes the burrito.
All right.
So,
Johnny, we got a bet still ongoing. You do know that, right?
Yes, about Vince McMahon and his status in the company. I said he would be out.
News just dropped.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'll wait until the new year if you want to, but you're going to owe me a
It's that bullshit story that he's not going anywhere, that they're all saying. He's not going. He just sold 8 million shares.
Yes, he did.
I saw that.
$8 million worth of shares of what he owns in the company or whatever that figure was. He's leaving, dude. They're going to squeeze him out. I'm telling you.
Sports Illustrated, a reputable company in the sports world. Have you heard this yet, Motorhead?
I saw or read bits and pieces about Mr. McMahon not going.
Said he sold the stocks because he reportedly needed to liquidate some assets. In other words, he had to get some money for a legal team, if you ask me, because he's about to go to court.
He already ass too. So
he already liquidated some assets.
Yes, he did. You got a paralegal. I need to hire 3 more. The other 2 were just working for me. I don't see it happening, Johnny. I just don't see it happening. I think he's going to be around for a little while. He might be around for another year, to be quite honest. Now, I'm not ready to make that bet yet, but I was ready a few months ago to say he'd be here the rest of the year. He's going to be here the rest of the year, Bottles. He's going to be here. By the way, my favorite pizza place, I'll send you the information after the show.
No problem. No problem.
I already had to buy a Motorhead one.
No problem. All I'm going to say to you is I was right about CM Punk. I've been right about quite a other few things that we've covered over the past few months. Motorhead's even nodding his head. So because I got that feeling, I got my finger in the wrestling Twitter. I'm probing the wrestling Twitter.
You're probing
and
something,
finding
pal.
it. I'm probing something, pal. God damn, pal.
You got a paralegal in there around you somewhere?
Uh-huh.
And I'm just going to tell you that I firmly believe that Vince McMahon will be gone by the beginning of 2024.
Okay.
He will be out the door, because if he's being taken to court by the federal government, that's a huge embarrassment for Endeavor. And the top 5 men, there's a elite core cadre of professionals in Hollywood, the top 5 men. And Chris just mentioned that guy's name. Ari Emanuel is one of the biggest movers and shakers in the entertainment industry in Hollywood. He's not going to have that embarrassment sitting right next to him.
No, he'll have him
Vince
sitting
will be out
behind
the
the
door.
desk. He'll be behind the desk.
No.
Make the monkeys dance, Vince. Make the monkeys dance. You make them uneasy. Come here, pal. What the hell was that?
He won't be in creative.
No, he's not going to be in creative. No.
I told you he wasn't going to be in creative. He was out the door. You said no, and all of a sudden he was out the door.
He's not out the door.
Out the door creative, pal.
But he's still there. You said he's out the door. He's not out the door. He's still sitting
in
there.
In creative.
I
He's
said
not writing the shows. He's not doing nothing. When they hired CM Punk, the guy who made that call was Nick Khan and Ari Emanuel. Those are the 2 guys that made the call.
Speaking of which,
Khan?
Tomorrow night.
Yes.
If you're not got your DVR set, folks, get them set. Because tomorrow night, guess who makes his debut? Back on SmackDown for the first time in 10 years.
In
Senor Punk? Senor Punk.
Like Mussolini!
That's right.
He's back on SmackDown. They are going to run this into the ground. They are going to make everybody care when he's on TV. They're going to pop a number They're going to get this show off the ground and running, and they're about to, because we got, 4 weeks before the next PLE? God,
Right.
that's a long time to wait,
Mhm.
man. It's terrible that we got to wait that long, but it's just how it worked out this year.
Yep.
So, and here it is, Chris. You hit the nail on the head. CM Punk and Paul Heyman interaction has to happen.
That
You're
would be
gonna
great.
see a Roman Reigns interaction, because Roman Reigns is supposed to be back this Friday on SmackDown.
Oh dear God, let this happen.
Yes.
I'm super looking forward to this show because Randy Orton made his debut last week, and what a debut it was.
God,
I mean, it was everything I hoped it was. Did you see it, Motor?
Yes, sir. Looks
What'd you
damn
think?
good. I thought it was awesome. And in looking forward, sky's the limit now, man. They got the bunch of the bullets loaded up in the gun, and it's gonna be a hell of a next couple weeks, couple months to see what unfolds with all these dudes.
Motorhead, let me ask you this question: who does Roman Reigns face at the Royal Rumble?
Here we go.
Who do you think? Well, you got an itch, you got a feeling. Orton, Punk, who? LA Knight again? Who?
I was
By the way, LA Knight, congratulations, LA Knight, on your marriage this past weekend.
Congrats,
Good for
buddy.
him.
I was leaning towards LA Knight, but now that Punk's back in the mix and Orton's back, it's kind of a toss-up for me right now. So depending on what happens in the next few weeks, the next month or two, I might change my opinion at that point. But I was all about LA Knight at first, facing him again. So we'll see. But I think it's going to be Orton. I think it's either Orton's my running bet to face
against Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
At this next pay-per-view or the Royal Rumble, because that's a big one.
Rumble.
At the Rumble, okay. Because they got one between now and the Rumble. That's the whole thing.
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
What's the one between now and the Rumble?
I can't remember what it's called. It's the WWE presents Who Gives a Shit. The Royal Rumble's really next event. That's what I'm officially calling it. That the WWE presents Who Gives a Shit wins the Rumble, because we're in the home stretch now. Like, no one realized we've got the Rumble, we got the Elimination Chamber, and then we got WrestleMania, and it's back on this merry-go-round we go. I think at the next pay-per-view, I think you are going to see Roman Reigns fight Randy Orton. I think that's what you're going to get. And I think you're going to see some outside interference with the bloodline, and that's going to send up Randy Orton fighting one of them in the damn Royal Rumble, setting up their WrestleMania feud. That's where I think this is going.
The next pay-per-view, Don, or PLE, will be the Royal Rumble, January 27th.
Nope, there's another one.
Nope, I'm looking at the schedule right now.
Superstar Spectacular in Saudi Arabia. That's what it is. That's it.
What?
Yeah. I wouldn't lie to you, boss. That's why I was looking at December.
I'm looking at their schedule right now.
Well, they're full of shit, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. Trust me, they've got another one between now and then. Even Chris found it. Come on, man. I know it's out there and it's there. WWE Superstar Spectacular. There it is. That's next.
What?
Superstar Spectacular. It's next.
I don't see anything here about a Superstar Spectacular. I'm on Sports Kita, and this is modified November 20th, 2023. There is no Superstar Spectacular. I'm looking at it right now.
All right, I'll send you the link when we're done, but it's definitely next. I think that's going to be what you get next, and then you're going to get eventually. I think after that, you get the CM Punk versus Roman Reigns match. Either way, okay. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. It's going to be great. I'm very excited about it. I know you had some other topics there, Bottle. What else you got?
Okay. Here's the PLE schedule. 2024 so far. Royal Rumble, January 27th. Elimination Chamber, the 24th, February. Stand to Deliver, NXT, April 6th. WrestleMania 40, April 6th and 7th. Backlash, May 4th. Bash in Berlin, August 31st. Those are all the dates that are confirmed right now. According to this, there is no Superstar Spectacular, and I'm even going to Google Superstar Spectacular WWE.
I saw something on a website, so that's all I can tell you.
Okay. So, Superstar Spectacle is what I'm looking at right now. And that was
Is that what it's called?
That was in January 26, 2021. They had one. I don't know where. They had one in India.
I'm gonna try to find it and I'll get back to you. I don't want to spend all day on this thing, but I know I saw one coming up early January.
Copy that.
What other news you got for us, Bottles?
Okay.
You had something that got my attention.
I'm lining it all up right now, Don. I'm
All
talking
right.
about, are we talking about WWE or AEW?
I don't care. Go wherever you want to.
Plethora of news.
Yeah, no, you've got
Matt
one that
Hardy's got a
definitely-
podcast. Have you heard
Here
the story?
we go. Here we go.
Matt Hardy's got a podcast, and he had his he had his drunken pillhead brother on there, and Jeff Hardy, and he talked about feeling like a ghost in the company. And here's the quote. When I first came back, I was pretty excited. I didn't know what was going to be happening in the near future. But I think the last time I was in this extreme dimension of y'all's podcast, I said that in WWE. I felt like I was a ghost just walking around backstage. Honestly, man, I kind of still feel like that at AEW, just because of not being involved in something cool. I feel like there's something so special that we have within us to really bring out, said Jeff Hardy.
Why is he still talking like this? We talked about this months ago, right? We all got our heads bitten off on Twitter.
We're not done. We're not done.
I know.
Here's another nugget.
I know. Here's
another.
He goes crazy.
Here's another corn-flecked nugget for you. Matt Hardy took to his podcast to air his displeasure with how he and his brother have been booked in recent months. Matt went on to say he believes they could have been used better and more often than what's been happening. It's now also been revealed Jeff wants to go back to the WWE for a final run and do his retirement run properly.
I didn't see that.
Wow.
He's been deeply saddened how he isn't around and being used since his return and knows his days in the ring are closer to the end.
Here's my thing, right? Like, we got our heads taken off on Twitter for saying Matt Hardy was just a complete washout right now with what they're doing with him. We got on that
slow-headed, slack-jawed idiot. Legs on sideways, dullard. I like that word, dullard.
Everything that they were doing with them from an angle perspective was just completely wasted. They don't have that many matches left in them. And they were just giving shit away on free TV. And we said, this is terrible. The way they're using them is terrible. This is all bad from the word go. And all the Hardy people went insane at all of us. You guys are idiots. You don't know shit. They're great. And here we are 2 months later, and where are they? Had they been on TV other than doing jobs?
Buddy, hear me.
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead, Motor.
Yeah, we got you. Hello?
We got you.
I can hear you.
Hello?
Go
We
ahead.
can hear
What were
you.
you going to say?
Motor, we can hear you.
Oh, good.
There we go. Go ahead, Motor. What were you going to say?
That was it. Because I couldn't hear you guys for a second.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, it just
Like,
Matt Hardy,
the Hardy
lost
boys
his shit. Just lost his shit on everybody who criticized what they were doing, man. Go ahead. Go ahead.
One brother is a moron who's got a wife that wants to fight everybody on Twitter. His legs are on sideways. He can't walk straight. He's got a crab walk to the ring. He's so he looks like he's been a cowboy for about 35 years, as bow-legged as he is. His sacroiliac joint in his lower spine and his hips are so calcified from doing that top rope leg drop all those years in the WWE. To sit down on a toilet, he's probably in excruciating pain. His drug addict, pilled up alcoholic brother is probably in so much pain on a daily basis from doing those swanton bombs he can hardly move. So I can understand why the man wants to take painkillers and wash it down with Fireball whiskey. The thing is with the Hardy Boys is no one's going to take a chance on you bastards and put you in a main event program or in a program with any star of any kind of notoriety because you're going to F it up, you're going to get locked up, you're going to get pulled over, you're going to be drunk, pilled up, the cops are going to come to your home and raid your house for painkillers with no prescriptions and illegal steroids, like they did to that schmuck, Jeff Hardy. He's been in and out of jail more times than a goddamn. I'm exasperated. I can't even go on. Don,
I get it's insane, dude.
I say it over and over again. We say this over and over again.
2 months ago, they don't need to be used like this on television. If you want to use them, that's fine, but they just don't have a weekly match in them anymore, man. They can't do this anymore. And now here's Matt Hardy bitching his ass off about this whole thing, about everything we said that was true. You're not an everyday player anymore. And here he is a week later. I'm not being used right. You've been on TV getting jobbed out because that's what he sees in you. I'm done with Matt Hardy. I'm done with the whole thing.
The one brother, Jeff Hardy, used to be a superstar. Okay? The other brother is mildly retarded. And the reason why the other brother, who's mildly retarded, wants Jeff Hardy by his side is because that moves him up the card. That's a higher payday for him.
He's the draw.
He's the draw. Matt Hardy is no draw. The only thing Matt Hardy draws is a stripe down the back of his BVDs. That's the only thing Matt Hardy draws. A brown stripe down the back of his underwear.
I can't handle it anymore. That's all we got. And I'm
Thank you, Larry.
I'm looking at this PLE listing. Apparently, it was tentatively agreed upon in Saudi Arabia, and they backed out. So I don't know what happened there. That's why they didn't have one in December. They thought they had one in early January, and something happened. So I don't know. I don't look more.
So I was right. I was right.
No, they don't have it. Yeah, you're right. They don't have it now. I don't know what happened.
Tell me I was right again.
You were right.
I don't hear that often in my house. That's why I'm asking you to tell me that again.
You're going to give me a pizza because you're wrong.
I feel you son of a bitch. All right, let's go to the next. Let's go to the next.
I've got something I want to talk about. There's something I want to talk about that's been on my mind. Randy Orton.
Go ahead.
Randy Orton was on whose show this week?
Logan Paul's Impulsive
Logan Paul's show.
Podcast.
Yes.
This is fascinating.
It is very fascinating because they covered a myriad of topics on this thing. They talked about his return. They talked about who his favorites are. They talked about all of this stuff. Motor, are you having problems, buddy? You want to log out and come back in? Can you hear us? Motor! He's so lost right now.
Motor, are you there?
He can't hear us, but he sent us a message.
Let me go check his settings. Let me check his settings. Hang on a second.
While you're doing that, I'm going to cover this. Orton was asked if he would like to hold the world title record. You know what he said? Of course, man. I want to do everything I can. Longevity is the name of the game. So he wants to get back in that main title spotlight. I got a question for you, and I'm not trying to. There, we can hear you now. I'm not trying to.
Motorhead, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Motorhead, can you hear us?
All right, I don't want to do a sound check. He should log out and come back in. Do you think Orton's going to get another title run?
I think he's still shell-shocked from the Matt Hardy conversation we had.
He might be.
Motor, can you hear us?
Anything. I can't hear nothing.
All right, we're going to take you out.
I can see lips move. I can't hear nothing.
Hang on. Let me text Motorhead.
Yeah. So do you think he's got another run in him? That's my question. Do you think Randy Orton's got one more run in him as a WWE, either heavyweight or WWE Universal, whatever it is now, champion?
Yes, I do, but I don't think the time is right now.
No, it's not right now, but do you think they're going to put the belt on Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then what? Does he drop it? Because I don't think Cody Rhodes is going to be Cody's going to be the guy that has a long run with the belt myself. I just don't.
No, because he's going to be fended off by Survivor Series of next year. He'll be fending off a heel Randy Orton.
And that was something I wanted to talk to both of you about, but since he's having problems, there was something brought up to me when he had this interview with Logan Paul. There's too many big name faces right now in WWE and not enough big name heels. Are you noticing this? Because
there's
you've got Randy
now? I'm trying to work on the Motorhead problem right now. Go ahead.
There's too many big name faces and not enough big name heels, right? Randy Orton's back, big name face. CM Punk's back, big name face. Cody Rhodes came back 2 years ago now, big name face. You've got all these faces, and you've only really got like a faction and a half. That's a heel. You really do, because
you're exactly right. So they got to mix it up, Don. They got to throw some. They have to have some startling changes of heel to face to shock the crowd, start a new storyline, a new belt chase, and freshen things up. And they will do that. And for a guy like Randy Orton, workers of the past have always said, it's if you have an injury, it's easier to work as a heel than to work as a babyface. Because when you work as a babyface, you have to sell all the time. You're taking a lot of moves, a lot of punishment.
Yes.
From the heel.
And you've got to have good facials. You've got to have great facials.
Yes.
You have to. And when I look at Randy Orton right now and his size, dude, he can't be a damn baby face for long with that size. He's jacked to the gills. Like, how are you going to get that guy to fight from underneath at his size right now?
Right.
He's out of his mind.
The only way you can do it is talk about these issues with his back and then go ahead
but that's
have
it,
somebody
right?
work the back.
There you go.
And he'll be the baby face.
Square on the spot, buddy. Square on the spot with that. That's a great call. But even at his size, right? Like, I don't know, man. I like Randy Orton as a heel so much better than I do as a babyface. He looks like a heel. He looks like a badass guy that's going to beat the shit out of you. He also said in this interview when asked who his Mount Rushmore was. You want to know what he said?
Who?
Couldn't name anybody. He wasn't going to do it. He said, I am not going to name guys and leave people off that list because there are so many damn people that I would forget that are worthy of being on that spot. And to me, of his generation, it's him, right? It's John Cena. And who's the third guy from that era? That was like next level great. Were they the only? But that's it. Brock Lesnar came at the same time. Sorry. Almost forgot Brock.
Brock Lesnar.
He's the other guy. The other guy that came in was Batista, but he was more of a, he was fun, but he wasn't on their level, in my opinion. I always thought
right.
Brock is a freak. Orton is a badass. Cena is an all-time babyface, and Batista was the guy that he looked great, but would come back and get hurt. Wasn't Orton once some kind of a face where he got injured as tag? Yeah, they were actually faces, but they had him in that tag team championship with that tag team because he was so hurt. I mean, that's exactly why they had him in there. So anyway, that's what I want to cover on that. There was one other piece of nugget news I want to talk about. The Iron Curtain's starting to get a lot of, or the Iron Claw's starting to get a lot of buildup. And I mean a lot of buildup. It's starting to get some critical acknowledgement. People that think this movie, The Iron Claw, is going to be just a wrestling link or just a wrestling show, a wrestling movie, or
a wrestling-centric movie.
They're really shocked at the storyline that's going on. Now, what I've been told is it's a movie based, you always get this. This movie is based upon these people. They don't have word for word what they did, but I think they get the main highlights of what their life was like, right? Like because I'm not going to give the movie away. If you don't know what happened, I'm not going to give it away.
And they also omitted one of the Von Erich brothers.
Yes, I do know that. Yes.
Completely from the movie. Now, I'm a little worried. I saw Jeremy Allen White, who plays Kerry Von Erich in this movie. I saw production stills of all the main actors together. And Zac Efron, whatever that boy is taking, it was huge compared to Jeremy Allen White. It should be the other way around because Kerry was the most jacked up brother of all of them together. But
it don't matter. They were all jacked to the gills.
Yes,
they were all jacked to the absolute gills. I'm so excited about this. I can't wait.
Don, I think we've lost the mighty Motorhead. He's not back. He's having some internet issues.
Well, they did have that entire internet outage yesterday where he had no internet access at all.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he's out there in the fog running over hobos with no internet. I mean, God bless him. Good luck, Motorhead.
He's out there with the zip code is EIEIO.
Oh, shit. Where'd that go? Jey Uso had a comment this week on CM Punk. Did you see that?
I didn't see this. No, I did not see this.
They asked him, what did he think of CM Punk's return? His quote was, he's on some tribal chief status.
Really?
Really? You can't look at CM Punk's return and not acknowledge that it's one of the biggest stories of the year. That guy's you could make a movie out of that guy's year for 90 minutes and I'd sit down and watch it with all the shit that happened. He's had a fascinating career. This year might be one of the most interesting wrestling stories I've ever seen happen. And everything that happened behind the scenes was crazy. Just absolutely insane.
You know, when this all went down with CM Punk, a lot of people came out of the woodwork to comment on this, as people were wont to do in situations like this. And they've all said unanimously that he loves the wrestling business. Whatever he does is for the good of the wrestling business. He wants to preserve the wrestling business. And he's one of the nicest people to ever talk you could ever talk to. He's a conversationalist. You could ask him what time it is, he'll tell you how to build a clock. That's the kind of guy he is. But he's passionate about wrestling, he's passionate about helping people, and he wants to hand down his knowledge to people coming up in the business. But a lot of the people coming up in the business in that other company that he came from didn't want to hear it. They thought they knew it all.
And still do, apparently.
And still do. And that's why the company is the way it is.
That's why the company's finding people. Bottles, this is your story. Run with it.
There's a disciplinary committee in AEW because the owner is a weak dick who wants to be everybody's best friend and pay them exorbitant sums of money to come to work and more money than what they're actually worth. And he doesn't want to be the bad guy. That's the antithesis of his moral fiber. He's afraid of being the bad guy. I don't know whether
all friends wrestling.
All friends wrestling. I don't know whether he didn't have enough friends when he was growing up. He was isolated from other children where he didn't have that social interaction. I don't know what it is. But he doesn't want to be the bad guy, hurt people's feelings. So, with that being said, Bryan Danielsen is on a committee of 3, which supposedly is a private investigator, a lawyer, and Bryan Danielsen. And Danielsen hands out fines to people because people are starting to complain backstage. People are starting to complain on social media about their place in the company. And that's a no-no. He doesn't want anything bad spoken about him or the company. That's why when you leave the company, you sign an NDA. If you are thinking about being hired by that company and he brings you in for a shot and you decide not to sign a contract, you sign an NDA or you're not getting paid for that shot. I have heard that. Can you believe that horse shit? AEW thinks they're Mid-South and Bill Watts handing out fines. Yeah, if you glued Bryan Danielsen and Tony Khan together, they wouldn't add up to Bill Watts, dude.
Dude, that's the greatest. He put this in here earlier in the comments, and I was hoping Chris would come back with that. Because when I saw that shit, I have read about Bill Watts fines that are crazy. If you don't obey the referee, fine. If you don't do this, fine. All that shit was amazing to me. I don't know how in the hell you can look at this right now if you're backstage as a wrestler and not see Daniel Bryanson or Bryan Danielson as a stooge. How is he not a stooge at this point in time? Are you seriously going to tell me that he has such little control over this company that he cannot put out something that says, guys, don't tweet about the business or I'm going to fine the shit out of you? And that's it. That's the end of all ends, right? That's all he has to say. He doesn't have to go into an in-depth delusional speech about all this. That's the speech. If you tweet about the company in a negative way, I'm going to fine the shit out of you. It's weird that you rarely ever see anything like this out of big names in WWE because they've got their finger on it. Guys, I'll fine the shit out of you. You're making a lot of money. I dare you to try this. If you've got a problem with your creative, come see the people that can help you. Twitter's only going to get your ass in trouble.
Vince used to love people going ballistic and going to him and bitching to him about their lot in life. And he would admire the fact that they actually came to him to bitch him out. Did you know that? He thrived on that. And he said, well, god damn, pal, they got a backbone, pal. That's Sasha Banks, pal. She's got a backbone.
Look, don't you do this. Do not.
She put a belt in Laurinaitis' lap, pal.
Jesus.
The other girl, the other dark-skinned girl, Naomi. Threw that belt right in her lap, pal. I like that girl. She puts steam in my stride.
I want neither one of them back in this company. Please don't let
Sasha Banks is coming back, pal.
I'm not saying she's not. I'm just
she's
saying,
coming back,
don't.
pal. It's an angle that's written, and Bailey gave it away. Bailey went ahead and dropped that bomb on Twitter. That she always has a backup plan. It was a picture of Asuka, Kairi Sane. I almost called her Siri Kane. Kairi Sane, Bailey, and Sasha Banks. Those four. Well, I always got a backup plan, pal.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying that's not my.
But let's go back to AEW, pal, because AEW is the crux of the story. The place is falling apart. Kevin Sullivan.
It's getting worse.
Kevin Sullivan was a guy who was in charge of post-production. He wasn't the Kevin Sullivan that we all know, the Taskmaster,
different one.
the head of the dungeon. Different guy. He worked for, I believe, the WWE. Oh, no. He worked for WCW back in the day. And he got hired by, in the production facility, of course, he got hired by AEW because he's a tenured guy, knows how to produce wrestling. And Mike Mansouri, who came from the WWE, he was...
Wasn't he in that Pretty Deadly tag team?
Mike Mansouri? You talk about Maximum Male Models? Mike Mansouri. I wonder what was sore for Mike. No, Mike Mansouri was the guy. He was the number 2 guy in that production company in WWE underneath Kevin Dunn. Well, right next to Kevin Dunn, I should say. He was the number 2 guy next to Kevin Dunn. I don't want to say he was underneath Kevin Dunn because that's a bad place to be. But Kevin Mansouri saw that Kevin Dunn's not retiring anytime soon. And he's not going anywhere. And he wants to make a decent wage. So he put the feelers out to AEW. So he left WWE and went to AEW, where he's the head of production. And someone had to take the fall to Warner Brothers Discovery for that uncensored F-bomb last week on AEW Dynamite from Adam Copeland, where right out, one of the 7 words you can't say on television, according to the FCC. If you're a George Carlin fan, look that up. The 7 words you can't say on TV.
Great
routine.
Up in the 70s.
It still applies to today.
Still does.
You cannot say these words on TV in prime time. And you cannot drop the F-bomb at prime time on television unless it's a pay channel where you're actually inviting that content into your home.
Well, you also have to have it as a discretionary advisor when you start the show, which they did not do. They do not allow them to have you until 10 o'clock, I believe, is the rule. At 10 o'clock, you start having shows like that.
Exactly.
No, I'm Adam Copeland. I can say you on the day. Just Edge. I expected
someone had to take the fall. Someone had to take the fall.
So much more.
And it was Kevin Sullivan who took the fall. Unfortunately, he was an older man, and whatever. I guess they figured he can just retire. I don't know. I don't know what his story was. I don't know what his age was. I know he was older. He was in WCW back in the day, and I feel for the guy. So
rats are getting off the ship as it sinks. Is what it is, Johnny.
QT Marshall, that's still a big story. A lot of people.
Did you see that one dropped today?
They're sweeping that under the rug, the QT Marshall thing. What about
did you see? There's another story that dropped today that said he initially asked for his release in August.
Yes,
and they would not grant it. They would not grant his release in August. So he came back again this month and said, guys, this is not working for me. I still want to wrestle. Please let me out of my contract. I am not.
I think his contract's done at the end of this year. But he wanted to get out a few months early because he went down. They had him as some sort of strong style champion in Mexico or whatever. He won a belt in Mexico. And I guess he liked that feeling. And I'm sure they got the word that the negotiations aren't going well.
Well, look.
With Warner Brothers Discovery for a new deal. So.
Either way, that's what else you got for me because I'm out.
Well, let's look at profitability for AEW.
Oh, shit. Dude, really? Come on.
Profitability, Mumbles Meltzer have said that they are bringing in $175 million a year. Unfortunately, according to WrestleNomics, Brandon Thurston, AEW. According to WrestleNomics, Brandon Thurston is the guy who heads that up, and he's got his finger on the pulse of what wrestling companies make, even all the way down to MLW. He says that their break-even point's $200 million. $200 million they need to make a year to pay everything, all their expenses, and not have a dime of profit.
And losing money. Losing money.
They're losing money now. They're losing money hand over fist. 25 to 30 million a year they're losing right now.
Allegedly. I don't know. I'm not working the books, but that's what's being put out there. I can't confirm it. I can't deny it. I don't really know. And I'm not gonna wager my bets and say that they're losing that much money. But I would wager that they are losing money. I really would. Because that video game was a humongous flop. Their pay-per-views are okay. They're not eye-opening. Their TV revenue cannot be that great because they're eating all the budget calls with all the production. Because I don't believe HBO is putting a dime into that. It's just, we'll pay you to put it on, you figure it out. Just like USA does. They've got to figure out how to get all the cameras set up.
I've read the percentage that Warner Brothers Discovery owns of AEW. They own 30% of AEW. Have you seen that?
I've read that they're making some money, but
no, they're not making money. They're not making money.
I'm saying
they own 30% of AEW.
I've read that, but I can't confirm that either. Like I can't confirm any of that.
I think what they're doing is they're covering some of the TV production costs, is what they're doing for the 3 shows. Not the pay-per-views, but the 3 shows. I think that's what they're doing. They're covering a third, roughly a third. So how long till we get the rise of AEW and Peacock? You'll probably get the death of AEW as a book first, and then you'll see that on Peacock.
Honest to God, I don't think AEW ever goes away. I think it becomes like Impact, to where it just becomes irrelevant. That's what I think happens to me.
Pop TV or Access TV or Retirement TV, something like that. Or maybe website-based where you have to, or just on YouTube. He could just have it on YouTube. Maybe. He can have it on YouTube. He did it before with Dark Elevation. And
because they were such humongous successes. What a freaking cluster flop.
What a shit show.
Yes.
There was a tag team in AEW.
Oh,
2 Hispanic gentlemen.
Holy shit.
Proud and powerful.
We're getting way down in the weeds now.
Santana and Ortiz. You remember those names? Santana and Ortiz.
I do actually remember those names.
They actually had a big falling out in public, if you will.
Like I do know that, yes.
Big falling out. They hate each other now. They were best friends. They hate each other. And Santana says he hasn't been on TV in 6 months. 6 weeks, Mike Santana says. He put a tweet out. 6 weeks since he's been booked on television. And he had to go and delete the tweet, I guess, because he didn't want to get a big ass.
There it is. Got to get your ass fined, buddy.
Yes, sir.
When Bryan Danielson's on the case, nobody's Twitter handle is safe. I can see him right now looking at his iPad just like this. Which one of you son of a bitches AEW? He is the new Sean Ross Sapp right now. He's searching his name frivolously for anyone who said anything about him. By the way, Sean Ross Sapp, suck my ass. Yeah, that guy's a piece of shit. Go to hell.
Smoke to that fire.
Yeah, dickhead.
Good Lord.
You did have one more thing I want to talk about before we take off.
Brock Lesnar's daughter?
No, we're not. Fuck you. No, sir.
Have you seen that beast? That girl
I'm not touching this topic.
Good Lord Almighty.
Pole. I'm not touching this pole with a 10-foot pole and you pushing me. I'm not touching it. She set the all-time shot put record in Colorado. That's all I'm saying. He spit the girl out. She looks just like him. It's crazy.
Oh, my God. She is a Chad, let me tell you. I want to show you something right now, which I saw. This is related to old school wrestling. I think you'll enjoy this. This is the Robbinsdale, Minnesota High School wrestling class of 1976 to 1979, folks. And I'm going to go over the people in this picture. Let me see if I can make it any bigger. I can't make it any bigger, unfortunately. I made it smaller. Let me go back. Right here where this arrow is. Tom Zink. Rick Rude, whose birthday's today. He would have been 65 years old.
God rest in peace.
Brady Boone, former Battle Cat from WWE. Remember that guy? He
Yeah,
had two
vaguely.
roles. Kurt Hennig in this great
He looks exactly like he would later in life. Rick Rude, I couldn't believe he looked that different.
And Don, do you have your muffler in? Do you have your muffler in?
No.
As Dusty Rhodes once asked the great John Nord on his debut at AWA. John Nord's right here. Look at that head of hair, that head of curls. Right next to him is, good Lord, Steve Simpson from the Simpson Brothers. And the great Barry Darsow, Smash from Demolition.
Smash. I mean, later on in Smash, first he was part of the Russian connection in NWA and the Jim Crockett promotions. That is a hell of a high school right there. Can you imagine that? All 5 of those guys were there at the same time in that school. That's crazy to me.
That's 7 right there. But
I mean, that's crazy to me. There was one topic you had that you want to touch on. Your girl, the dentist, is still mouthing off.
The dentist is let me close this. Sorry. The dentist is mouthing off about her lack of TV time, her lack of promos. She said,
"Hold on,
Christian Cage." This is from the last Dynamite. MJF promo time, 20 minutes. Christian Cage promo time, 12 minutes. Britt Baker promo time, 2023, 0 minutes. And she was the first person fined for disparaging the company on social media by Bryan Danielsen. That's what they said.
You think so?
That's what they say.
Here's my question. Did the tweet not say live promo time?
I can't recall, to be honest.
It said live. That was her beat.
Live promo time. Okay.
She's had promo time, but it's all been pre-recorded.
All
pre-recorded. A lot of it, I think a lot of it's been cut because of the time constraints that they've had. So,
well, with JB, like I said last week, when JB Hayter was the champ earlier this year, and it was Reba and Britt Baker and JB Hayter as a clique, JB Hayter would never speak. Britt Baker did all the talking.
Yes, she
did. All the promos for JB Hayter. Did. When Hayter got hurt, that was the end of Britt Baker's promo time. She was putting an angle with Adam Cole when he was feuding with Chris Jericho when he was healthy.
They had their own damn show, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
That whole show was about them.
Exactly. And she caught a black eye from Jericho. And she was beaten with a Singapore cane in the middle of the ring while Adam Cole was handcuffed to the ring rope. She was beaten with a cane by Jericho. So when Adam Cole finally got his mitts on Jericho, backstage, back in a loading dock area somewhere where they have a garage door, a roll-up garage door, and Jericho's trying to skedaddle, she slapped Jericho, and she's screaming and carrying on. A bunch of method acting from those three, and this big, the security comes out of the woodwork to stop everything. So she's had plenty of on-screen time.
Yeah, that's not the issue. I don't really know what she's bitching about, to be quite honest. Like, her throwing that caveat of live in there, like it's going to matter.
Dude,
you have been on TV all year. Shut the F up. You're just not in the limelight right now. There's other women that are way more deserving, quite frankly, that have put in their time that I'm enjoying more. So I just wanted to cover that real quick because I thought it was a whole bunch of nothing out of her mouth.
Go back to flossing somebody's chops, okay? Go back to yanking out a green fizzy molar out of somebody's face. Just do that for a while. And don't worry about putting a suplex on somebody or a headlock because you can't do it. Your wrestling skills are nil. Your promo skills are actually, as a heel, pretty top notch.
They're pretty good.
Your wrestling skills are the shits.
It's shits. It's diarrhea.
Shits.
It's diarrhea when you get back from the store and the dog shit all down the house.
And you drop your phone in it, too.
And you drop your phone in it to top off the day. Just my God. Bottles, are we doing the flashback show tomorrow?
Yes,
we are. Get out of here.
Yes,
what
we
are we covering?
What do you want to talk about? We got, how many people do we have watch this? 10 people. Guys, what angle from yesteryear do you think we should talk about? We'll hash it out right now. Malkies versus the Ding Dongs.
Oh,
that's what I'm talking about.
I will leave the room. I think I got one. I think I want to talk about Barry Windham turning heel on Lex Luger, why they were the tag team champions.
Does anybody really care about Lex Luger?
No, Barry Windham joining the Four Horsemen. Do you really not remember this angle and how insane it was?
I do, and it was very blasé to me, but
Get the shit. Sit in the truck. Sit in the truck.
pardon me?
Yeah, go sit in the truck. Do you know Carrie?
Carrie?
Carrie ass outside, sit in the truck.
Carrie ass outside.
All right, we'll talk about
I'll
it.
slide right through that river of dog diarrhea out the door.
Hold your freaking phone.
I went to Walmart yesterday, folks, and I
God.
called Don on my way home, and I picked up an order, and I was coming home, and I've got 3 huskies and a Klekai, Alaskan Klekai. It's a mini husky, if you can visualize that. You don't get any bigger than this. That's Bubba the Wonder Dog, as I like to refer to him. He's the Billy Barty of dogs. He's a midget dog. And as I come home, they're all by the door looking at me like, oh, here he comes. I said, and as I open the door carrying my groceries from Walmart, I said, back up. And I look, and there's a pile of diarrhea right behind them all. I said, God, don't back up. I open the door and let them all slide out. So, and once again, my co-host takes delight in the misfortunes of others.
It's
Don
just
Wayne.
now that it's over, it's the best. It's one of the best stories ever. It's
And
up
I
there with
opened
the
the
hobo
door.
killer.
I open the door and they all run out and go in the yard and do what they have to do. And I throw my groceries down, pissed off, in a deck chair, which is on my deck, my front deck. I open the door and there's a trail of diarrhea starting at the front door, leading around into the kitchen, around the island in the middle of the kitchen. From there, it continues into the dining room table. A trail of diarrhea. I said, okay, so we're dealing with this now. It's no problem. So I get a roll of paper towels and a plastic bag. We say plastic bags from Walmart, as do a lot of people.
As do I, to get up in the
for
yard.
things like this to pick up dog shit with. And I'm wiping it all up. I'm wiping up the diarrhea. I'm making my way around the island. I get in front of the sink. I go around. As I get to the end of the island, and I'm wearing a hoodie, I got a cell phone that is in a case. It's a wallet case. I got my cards, my money, all that stuff. It folds over. It's a nice case. I lean over to wipe up the last vestiges of the dog shit, which is probably about a quart that's on the floor right in front of me. And my phone case comes out of my left-hand pocket of my hoodie and slides across the floor right into the melted chocolate ice cream. Right into the dog. As I say these, and I'll say it once, I'll say it again, but I can't say it on YouTube. These MFing dogs.
And the best part about this is I happened to call him right as this happened, and he answers the phone with, Don, I can't talk to you. My phone's in a pile of dog shit.
Needless to say, I said that when I was on speaker.
It was on speaker, folks. It was on speaker.
Jesus.
We're going to have to get together and talk about some more. That's all I got for today.
I think that's all I got.
I want to thank everybody. Appreciate you for tuning in. I thought we had a good show for some of the troubles we had. Motorhead, hope we get your internet fixed, buddy.
Motorhead?
Yeah, he's gone.
He's out. All right, guys. Please give us a thumbs up.
Subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe. It's helping
Keep us going here. While this channel is, I don't know what's happening, but it's starting to take off.
Appreciate you guys, man. Really do.
And there's a mush-mouthed young man in Chesapeake, Virginia, who's flipping chicken right now in the Zaxby's, thinking that we would never amount to anything.
Said we had to do more.
There's a high school football coach down in Virginia with 19-inch shins who said, those fellas ain't going to amount to nothing. Them maniacs are crazy. All we can say is thank you guys for sticking by us and making us what we are.
See you tomorrow.
So.
Till next week, Gordon Soley saying so long from the Sunshine State.